One of the 49ers stars that we got to hear from today was George Kittle, and he gave us multiple updates, not only on himself, but the entire tight end room. And honestly, the tight end room has been one of the major points of emphasis. I think, for a lot of people talking about the state of the 49ers roster construction. Because as we know, the 49ers have lost multiple guys to different teams, and they didn't really replenish the tight ends, or at least didn't seem like a high priority for them in the draft or in free agency. However, they were able to get Pline as an undrafted free agent and Salbert in free agency later on. But it just has been like, oh, this is interesting, because typically feels like Kyle Shanahan loves having as many tight ends as he can get, specifically blocking tight ends. But it feels like we're having a little bit of a transition, potentially. But let's take a listen to George Kittle not only provide us an update with an injury and how long he had been suffering with this injury that ultimately required off-season core muscle surgery, but when he plans to be ready to go for practice again, along with Brayden Willis and Cam Latu and the rest of the tight ends. I think this is a quality update from the leader of the tight end room. Take a listen right here, and we'll react to the other side.
Where are you in your recovery right now?
Coming along, progressing as planned. Goal is to be back ready for training camp, and all signs point that I will be ready for training camp.
How long were you dealing with that specific injury last year?
Quite a while. I'd say kind of like week 9, 10. You know, we took some MRIs of it and some stuff didn't show up, so like we weren't really entirely sure what we were dealing with until I got the surgery. So that was a tough one. So we tried to figure it out, but just things weren't popping up on the scans, and so just something that we were playing through probably for like 10 weeks. It's fun stuff.
When you say we were playing through, you?
Oh, me in the training room. They try, doing everything they can, to just help keep me on the field as much as I possibly could, try not to miss any practice and stuff like that, and they did a great job of that. And so it wasn't the most fun, but still could play at a high level.
The tight end position and his tight end position as a whole, I mean, Latu didn't get to play last year because he got hurt. Brayden got to play some. What do you see in those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think the tight room is very new. You lose Charlie Warner and Dwelly to the Falcons. Two guys have done it for – Dwelly's done it for 6 years and Charlie for 4 years. And so when you lose that consistency, guys who are used to playing, guys who are used to the offense, there is like a gap there that needs to be filled. And I think, Cam has come a long way in his rehab stuff. And so, really the most important thing for him is just get back on the practice field. And he'll do that during training camp. And he's doing a great job in the meeting rooms. He knows the offense. He's doing a very good job of just learning and understanding what our goals are. So, hopefully he can take everything from that meeting room and, apply it to practice, and he goes out there and plays at a high level. Brayden has gotten way better since last OTAs, last training camp, last season. It's fun just to see him take these strides. He's figuring out the run game. He's a really good route runner, strong hands. And so, they have all the abilities. It's just what I always try to say is, you can't replicate reps. You need to go out there, you need to get as many reps as possible. So, Brayden getting a lot of reps right now is being very beneficial to him. We brought in Eric Sauber, a guy from my draft class. He's played a lot of football, so that's helpful. He does it the right way, works really hard, so that's kind of nice to see too. He's got a really solid player. And then Tunjas is, I think he's gotten better too. Put on a lot of weight, put on some strength, so I think he has an opportunity to surprise some people too. And then my rookie Mason Pline. He's just figuring it out right now. Smart kid, picking it up. He's huge too, which is kind of fun. 6'6", 250 plus, so that's kind of fun to see. But I mean, all in all, my tight end room needs as many reps as they possibly can. So these OTAs are huge for them, and just looking forward to how they keep taking steps in the right direction.
So the thing with the core muscle surgery, we knew that he had it after the season. We didn't know anything about this injury. He didn't really show up on the injury report, and it wasn't discussed. And I think this is obviously by design. I don't think Kittle wants people to know when he's injured and when he's dinged up, because people have actually piled on top of him for dealing with injuries. So the fact that he got injured in week 10, keep in mind, it's 18. Oh, no. 7. They want to make it 18. It's a 17-game regular season. And then he played in 3 postseason games on top of that, he played half the year with this core muscle surgery or core muscle injury that required surgery. And so with Kittle, I think this again just continues to exemplify what a leader he is. I mean, and just you hear him talk about the other tight end position, the ultimate leader. It's his tight ends, it's his tight end room. He takes full ownership of everything that those tight ends do. So not only is it cool to hear that aspect of it, and we'll get into the Latu and Willis updates in a second, but again, it's just fascinating that he was able to gut that out, and he was the only tight end in the NFL last year to go over 1,000 yards receiving, and he did it injured. That required surgery at the end of the year. Same thing with Charvarius Ward. He had a very similar injury. He had surgery as well. So I think it's just par for the course for NFL players. They're always hurt. I think there's a saying in football is, are you hurt or are you injured? If you're injured, you can't play. But if you're hurt, you rub some dirt on and get back out there. That's really just the mentality. But I think, when it comes to George Kittle, he's clearly one of the toughest players out there with how he plays and how he plays through injury. And he sacrificed his body for the team last year. And again, that's just why he's such a phenomenal player, captain on the chest. He's just that guy. But I love what he had to say about Brayden Willis. I think George really likes Brayden Willis. I think there is a lot to work with. I think Brayden Willis is definitely raw coming out, but he has a lot of ability, and he's very athletic, and he's a very willing blocker. So I think those are all things that obviously George really appreciates and puts him under his wing. Like, how cool is it to be a 7th round tight end and to have George Kittle basically take ownership of you and be like, I'm going to show you how it's done. That's pretty dang cool. So I think Brayden Willis has the opportunity right now to be the tight end 2 for the San Francisco 49ers. I think the unfortunate thing is to hear that Cameron Latu is still injured, and that he won't even be able to play until training camp. And you hear George Kittle talk about the importance of these guys getting OTA reps to be able to work on the install, to be able to get their mind up to speed so that when pads come on, they're moving much quicker. And that's the biggest issue right now with Cameron Latu, man, is he hasn't practiced. I don't think Cameron Latu has practiced since last year's training camp because of being on IR all year, and he's hurt for OTAs. So Cameron Latu is right now is at a big disadvantage, but I'm still trying to hold out hope that Latu can somehow turn it around during training camp. We'll have to see, but him not being available is going to be a huge element to that. So we'll have to continue to monitor that. You heard from Sauber, heard him talk about Pline. So I think the tight end room is in good hands for the most part, but I think they're not going to be I don't think they're going to be utilizing the tight ends like they normally do. And the reason why I put an emphasis on the tight end room is because they're like backup tackles. They block, like Charlie Warner, what he did as a blocker for this team got him a $12 million contract for 11 catches over 4 years. They didn't pay him for his catches. They paid him for his blocking. And he was an integral part. And whether supplementing George Kittle or playing with George Kittle, Charlie Warner was very integral to this offense and this run scheme. And so I'm very curious to see what ultimately happens. But the tight end room, I think we're going to be spending a lot of time on this room in training camp, but I'm excited to see how it unfolds. I think there's plenty of room for it to develop, and I'm excited to see who rises to the top. Who do you think is going to be the tight end 2 and 3? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.